Dear grad students, welcome. My name is Igor Fedin. I'm an assistant professor here in the Department of Chemistry and Biochemistry. It is my first year at the University of Alabama. I came here from Los Alamos National Laboratory, where I did my postdoc, and I received my PhD from the University of Chicago in 2017. I did parts of my graduate work at Argonne National Laboratory. So those are a few words about my background. My research interests encompass colloidal semiconductor nanocrystals, their synthesis, characterization, and applications in photonics, imaging, electronics, energy. These nanocrystals were first synthesized about 3 decades ago, and today we can encounter them in commercial TV displays and routine biological imaging. A few other applications for these quantum dots, commercial applications, are coming up, like infrared imaging, quantum dot LEDs, quantum dot lasers, on-demand single photon emitters. So what's so special about these quantum dots? What are their merits? Well, first is quantum confinement. Unlike their parent bulk materials, the band gap of a quantum dot depends on its size. The smaller the quantum dot, the larger the band gap. Electron-hole pairs in these quantum dots form excitons, which manifest themselves as these peaks in absorption spectra. And we can see the smaller the quantum dot, the bluer it is. Second, photoluminescence. Again, unlike their parent bulk materials, quantum dots are photoluminescent. And we can tune the color of this photoluminescence by tuning the size of the quantum dot as well as its shape and composition. Third, these quantum dots are solution processable. They are produced in routine fume hood syntheses. Finally, these quantum dots can be made electrically conductive for their use in electronic devices like field effect transistors or solar cells. Just a few words about the synthesis and chemistry of quantum dots. They are produced at elevated temperatures in high boiling solvents using stable precursors like cadmium phosphonate, triactyl phosphine selenide. As synthesized, these quantum dots are covered with long-chain organic surfactants, which provide them colloidal stability and surface passivation. These surfactants can be exchanged for short charged inorganic ligands, which will then provide the quantum dots electrical conductivity. Often we grow a layer of a wider gap material, a shell of a wider gap material over quantum dots to stabilize them and to enhance their photoluminescence. There are a number of directions I would like to explore. My group is exploring using these quantum dots. First is using quantum dots as on-demand single photon emitters. These electron-hole pairs, these excitons in quantum dots, can recombine and emit a photon as a result of this recombination. Well, if this exciton has preserved its coherence, and it's not trivial to ensure, then this emitted photon will be what we call a quantum photon, and it will be very valuable in transmitting secure communications, in transmitting that information securely. The requirements to quantum emitters are single photon purity, one emitted photon at a time, and photon indistinguishability. How do we ensure it? Well, we need to make sure there are no states nearby, that we have an isolated two-state system. But even so, even when we have this isolated electron-hole pair, it gives rise to multiple excitonic states. So we need to understand the nature of those excitons, characterize them. So as we can see, this project is a combination of synthetic chemical efforts as well as physical understanding of what's going on. The benefits of colloidal quantum dots is that they are made in reproducible economical syntheses. We have a great degree of control over their composition, shape, and strain. The syntheses are volume scalable, and there is no need to use sophisticated apparatus or highly toxic precursors. Here in my postdoctoral work, I used cadmium cyanide zinc sulfide quantum dots. with this complex composition, which are good candidates for single photon emitters. They emit at 620 nanometers, which is indivisible, which makes it convenient to handle them. Communication bandwidth, however, lie in the infrared. So eventually all of these efforts will have to be taken to the infrared, near infrared. There are a number of suitable materials there. My group is interested in developing indium arsenide-based structures for this purpose, and there will be a number of compositions we'll be exploring. There are a number of challenges, chemical, synthetic challenges with these compositions. So a good place to start would be, in fact, cadmium phosphide quantum dots, which is kind of a bridging system between II-VI and III-V semiconductors. These quantum dots somewhat resemble cadmium selenide, but they are a near-infrared material with a bulk band gap about half an electron volt, but owing to their high quantum confinement, the photoluminescence is highly tunable here over the visible range of the spectrum and the near-infrared range up to 1600 nanometers. They are faster emitters than III-V semiconductor quantum dots. There are a number of chemical synthetic challenges here. We need to synthesize, we need to grow shells over these quantum dots, and it's a non-trivial task owing to this non-one-to-one stoichiometry. We need to enclose them in polymer composites to make sure they are stable. Those will be the first projects here in this direction to start. Another direction is colloidal stabilization of layered two-dimensional materials. These materials have been a hot topic in the past 2 decades or so. There have been numerous efforts in their exfoliation, chemical modifications, their applications. My group would like to bring the expertise of the established colloidal chemistry of semiconductor nanocrystals into this field and exfoliate these layered materials, colloidally stabilize the individual sheets of them, functionalize them, integrate them into functional assemblies. There have been a number of efforts going on in the exfoliation, for example. So we're seeking to replace the chemicals that are used, like butyllithium or hydrazine, with more benign alternatives. We're also looking to expand the range of layered materials that can be exfoliated this way beyond the sulfides. We will be functionalizing these materials with metal cations and organometallics. We also will characterize this functionalization quantitatively with electrochemistry. Electrochemistry, by the way, is an interesting direction on its own. In my graduate work, I characterized the surface of semiconductor nanocrystals by titrating via potentiometric titrations in nonpolar solvents at elevated temperatures using molecular titrants like trimethylcellulose sulfide, which is way outside the comfort zone of electrochemistry. I developed a little probe back then. Well, here we will take it even further and characterize a whole hot synthesis of quantum dots from scratch, where we load molecular precursors, heat them up, allow the crystals to nucleate, grow, and we'll monitor how the electrode potential changes. Here I'm showing some preliminary data on lead selenide at 60 degrees Celsius. Eventually, when we become more ambitious, we'll take it to cadmium selenide quantum dots in higher temperatures. I moved to a research lab a few months ago. I have a talented graduate student working with me, Logan Smith. We use Schlenk lines for our air-sensitive chemistry. We're in the process of getting a glove box. We just bought an absorption spectrometer, a fluorescence spectrometer with an integrating sphere, and a fluorescence dynamics unit. The department and the college have a number of shared instruments like ICP for elemental analysis of quantum dots, transmission electron microscope to image those quantum dots. So the lab and the department are well equipped for these projects. As prospective graduate students, you are probably interested in your opportunities after graduation. And in my experience, grad students working in this field secure positions, postdoctoral positions in materials groups, including at top research institutions. Postdoctoral positions at national labs, where I'm coming from, are interesting too for their higher pay, but also for the unique opportunities that national labs have. Industry positions at larger companies like Intel, Lam Research, or smaller startups like II-VI, Nanosys, or teaching positions at liberal arts colleges. With this, I would like to thank you for your attention. I look forward to our visitation Saturday, and I'll be happy to speak with you more then and to answer any questions you may have. Thank you for your attention. Bye bye.